Today I fricked up. Worthsiver7918 says. Today I fricked up be going for a jog in Rio de Janeiro. So roughly 3 months ago, I moved to Rio de Janeiro from England to be with my long distance girlfriend now wife. We stayed at her parents' house, which is in quite a rundown poor area. It's not quite a favela, but it's notorious for being dangerous for a month when I first got here until our apartment was ready to move into. The area that I live in now is probably one of the nicest and safest in Rio de Janeiro. It's right by the international airport, it's quiet and the people are friendly. I've gone from being a very active construction worker in and around London to now teaching English online. I'm also an online personal trainer / coach, so obviously health is quite an important thing to me. I sit down for hours at a desk now, and I believe it's important to stay fit and healthy no matter your occupation. So I decided to take up running. After moving into my new apartment I was hit with some financial burdens, but it's fine, I recovered, and I brought some running shoes. I laced them up for the first time and took them for a spin. Now at the bottom of my road on the left hand side is the most amazing kind of boardwalk stretch of pavement. It's where the locals go to jog and to walk babies in pushchairs, walk their dogs, and it's home to one of the most beautiful sunsets you'll ever see. So I figured this on the left hand side, why don't I go to the right hand side and see if it continues on the other side? I was bored, my wife was at work, and I set out without telling her. So this time I got to the bottom of my road and swung a right. I was wearing my AirPods, still under the illusion I lived in a safe area, and I started going towards some signage for a beach, less than 1 kilometer from my apartment. I continued to follow the signs and I ended up in a small community, very dark and dingy, but there were children playing around and there was music. It was vibrant, although it looked run down. So I delved deeper into this area. There's a community, feel listening to music. There's a lot of people outside laughing and joking. I ran past everybody, and the whole time everyone, including the kids, are looking at me like, what the frick? Like, who the frick is that guy? Obviously I'm white in Brazil, they've never seen me before, and I'm jogging in their area. Eventually I see some guys in front of me, and it's pitch black. I don't even know how many were there, to be honest, but they are in front of me, and I've swung right following the footpath just 10 feet in front of them. I ran past them with my AirPods in, and not even 2 seconds later one pulled me back by my shirt in the middle of this dark footpath. He turned me around, was aiming an assault rifle at my chest, a huge, black, COD, Warzone, running every attachment looking thing, and my heart sank. I still had the music in my AirPods playing, so I couldn't hear what he was saying. He was angry, shouting at me saying I don't know what. I took my AirPods out. Bearing in mind I speak literally almost no Portuguese, and he's shouting at me, and I don't know how to respond. I've got both hands in the air, just completely taken back. 1 second I'm taking a leisurely jog, living my dream, listening to some RHCP, then I have an assault rifle pointed at my chest. I'm saying to this guy, in Portuguese, I'm new here, I live here, my wife is Brazilian, I can't speak Portuguese, my usual openers for the regular conversations I have. I'm saying all of this, and the guy still doesn't look impressed. His facial features looked evil, like he'd had a rough life, and I could just tell this wasn't the first time he'd smoked someone. Then he started saying telephone telephone. In my head I'm thinking, okay, he's robbing me. He can have my phone and AirPods at this point, I don't give a frick. I would have given him my new running shoes to get out of the situation. So I went to put my hand in my pocket to grab my phone. He then raises his gun to my head, still looking down the sight. To which I calmly replied, you said telephone, in English. After that everything went eerily silent. The sound of the water next to us stopped. I couldn't hear the sound of the crickets around us. If a pin dropped I would have heard it. We were under the only street light on the entire footpath. I couldn't see anything behind or around him. I was completely locked in on this guy thinking this is the man who is going to kill me, and I accepted my fate. I have had a few near-death experiences in my life, but this was unlike anything I've ever felt before. The whole ordeal couldn't have lasted for more than 90 seconds, but it felt like an eternity. The whole time he had the gun pointed at me, all I could think about was, where is he gonna shoot me? Is he gonna shoot me in the stomach or the chest? Because that's just gonna leave the biggest exit wound ever. It's gonna hurt like frick, and I'm definitely not going to survive. Then I thought, okay, it's probably better that shoots me in the head, at least I won't feel anything. Then it was, oh frick, my wife. She's at work and she doesn't know I went for a run. I won't be there when she returns from work, and she will never see me again. There will be no contact from me ever again, and she will live her life assuming I'm dead with no answers, and being right in that assumption. My family back home in England, my brother, my best friends. No one is going know what happened to me. We're standing next to the sea on the edge of the island. All he has to do is shoot me and throw me in the water. That's it, done and dusted. Noon's ever gonna find me or going to know what happened. Then I felt this overwhelming sense of dread. If you've ever had a nightmare where the worst thing ever is going to happen, and your body gets taken over by the feeling of overwhelming frick, dread, that's exactly what it felt like. Only I was completely awake in the real world. There was a little brick wall next to us. I think he could see that I was just giving up, and I just accepted my fate, so he told me to sit down. Now I'm sitting down on this wall, hands still in the air. Then all of a sudden probably 5 more guys run over, and 3 of them are aiming handguns at me as well. At this point I knew I was frick edition. All of them were shouting at me and to each other, and I didn't understand a single frick word they said. A few seconds later some older guys ran over, and I'm now sitting on the brick wall with roughly 10 guys aiming 4 guns at me. I think the commotion didn't sit well with the older guys, because they came right up to me, put their hands on my shoulders and spoke to me calmly, still in Portuguese. All I could reply with were the conversation openers I knew, in hopes that they would take into consideration that I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Eventually what happened was some younger guys walked me out of the favela. Were walking back the way I ran in, my phone and AirPods still in my possession luckily. I got my phone out and used Google Translate to speak with these guys. They are explaining this is a dangerous area. We don't know who you are. You look like army/police. I have a bald head. We wouldn't have killed you. It's just a formality. Before you know it, we're laughing and joking together. They invited me to hang out and smoke some with them, crack a few beers. All I could think about was getting as far away as possible. I told them, yeah, I'll come back another time. I'm never going back there again. We had some conversations, ended up exchanging eggs and WhatsApps, and I hastily left. To my surprise they even messaged me 20 minutes later to see if I got home safely. Safe to say I learned how dangerous Rio is. One wrong step and you can be killed. Every Brazilian who I've spoken to about it has told me I'm the luckiest person in the world. If I was a native or even spoke Portuguese, it would have been a rap, and me being a gringo saved my life. Too long, didn't read. I nearly got murdered in a favela whilst going for a Panda Light says. 1. Going somewhere unknown that doesn't look like a well-worn path. 2. Approaching and passing strangers. 3. It was dark out, pitch black, and you did #1 and #2. 4. You did all this while wearing AirPods, so you couldn't hear anything. 5. As you said, you didn't tell anyone where you were going, so no one would even know where to find your body. Street smarts, dude. I'm really happy for you and your wife that you're alive. Don't ever do that again. Edit. 0 and 6. If you want someone to take your phone/wallet, you tell them where it is in your pocket. You don't reach for it, because that could be you reaching for a gun. Redusu says. There's places in the world where I wouldn't be too concerned about doing these things. None of those places are in South America. 00 Dixie says. That's why it's called street smarts. Know which streets you can and can't do this on. Daniel says. Being a Brazilian and reading this, all I could think is how lucky you are that your Portuguese wasn't good, because they would have smoked you for sure if they figured you were a cop. One doesn't simply go inside a gang controlled favela and walk out. There's only a few places in Brazil where you really don't have to worry about this kind of thing, but Rio/Sao Paulo is super dangerous. Worthsivus7918 says. Exactly, I'm not even a cop, I'm an online English teacher. A guy spoke to me in my gym last week. He's a cool guy. We got talking and he added me on IG. I saw his profile and he's Polsha civil. He had pictures of him holding his Forzel in front of a cop car and everything. It sucks because he's cool, but I can't accept him or follow him back, because if I get my phone taken by a gang and they see him on my IG, I'm dead. I haven't seen him yet in the gym, but I'm going to tell him this. Daniel says. Yup, you gotta be careful with stuff like that here. They really don't like snitches. Switch Adventurous 24 says. Bro, learn to have some situational awareness. It's as easy as realizing people are looking at you all crazy because they know you don't belong and are trying to tell you. You can go wherever you like, just know that there are unspoken rules about interacting with people and announcing your presence to let them know I know I'm not from this area, but I'm not trying to cause trouble. Sigmund Freud says. Agreed, I would have stuck around for a few beers. Zach says. Nicest and safest by the airport nap, bro, you've been ill-advised. Glad you've learned the lesson unscathed, though. Source, I'm Kirioka. Aladag says. Yeah, I'm guessing he lives in Isla do Governador. That's the nicest place around the international airport I can think of, but it's still not that safe, sadly. Zach says. I was considering maybe he confused Santos Dumont and lives near the Otero or that tidied up part of the port, which is definitely much nicer, but still not at all close to safest. MNLCNTN says. Yeah, just get a treadmill lol, this shit would scare me from leaving the home ever. Worthsivus7918 says. The gym is literally across the road from my apartment as well. I just wanted a scenic run lol. Safe to say I've been using that treadmill a lot. That's all for this video, thank you for watching, please subscribe.